Hey everybody, Andy Brady again with the Easily Amused channel. Today I want to talk about having a liquor collection and what you can do with it. More often than not, I see a massive liquor collection. I'm talking 4 to 5 times larger than what I've got. And the one thing I see in common is just 100 or 200 or more unopened bottles. And part of the reason is they're afraid, they get that unicorn, they get their Bruletti Black Art 1990, they get their Midwinter Night's Dram, and the moment that they open it and they start pouring a drink, they're worried it's going to go bad. It's not going to taste good anymore. It's never going to taste quite like it was. And they're right. Because the moment that you open this and you expose it to oxygen, what's going to happen is that oxygen is actually going to start to oxidize the alcohol inside of the bottle, which is why you might grab a really old bottle that you forgot about and you look at it and it might be extremely murky. It's going to taste sour. It's going to start getting gross. But there's some things that you can do. So where you have yourself your unicorn, something that you really want, and you open it up, what do you do next? Well, of course, you sample it, you try it. You and your wife, you and your husband, whoever, you enjoy it. But you're not ready to drink all week with your unicorn. So what's the next step? The next step is going to be preserving it. And I'm going to show everyone a little trick on how to add some preservation using something you might have already at home. And if you don't, something that you can get that will allow you to preserve it. All right, so we're going to fast forward a little bit. Right, so you've taken your Midwinter Night's Dram, which is just an amazing pour, let's be honest here, and you've poured just a little bit because you've decided it's a good night to taste it, it's a good night to sit back and really enjoy something that you really can't get your hands on otherwise. So the first thing you got to do is you got to enjoy it. These are wee Glencairn glasses, if you've never seen them before. They are Glencairn glasses, but they are much smaller. They're perfect for if you're doing a flight sampling, if you just want to do a very small nip of something. It's much classier than a shot glass, especially if you're going to sample at it, but it actually still preserves the smell the same way that a full-size Glencairn glass does. Oh, just as good as I remember it. And why is it just as good as I remember it? Many people at home have a soda stream. What does that have to do with whiskey? Right? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cram this bottle up in here just like we usually use a soda stream, and we're going to carbonate it. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to full hammer down on this, right? We're going to barely touch it and just get a little bit of air. And we're going to put it right on the edge of the bottle. And then you're going to immediately cork it. And I'll explain why in just a second. All right, so why would we do such a thing? So when you blow CO2 into the container, you're obviously not carbonating it. If you're pushing down hard enough to add CO2 to the flavor of the alcohol, you're putting pressure inside of the bottle, which is not the goal, obviously. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to offset the oxygen that I introduced whenever I opened it with CO2. And with carbon dioxide in there, you're not going to get the oxygenation. So what's going to happen is we're going to take this bottle, we're going to be able to put it back up on the shelf, and 6 months from now, a year from now, we should be able to open it again and enjoy it again. Now, CO2 is very commonly used by distilleries. They will have the bottles be pumped full of the alcohol, but when it goes into the bottle, it stirs and it mixes with oxygen. So most of the bottling lines actually start by going through a process where it rinses and cleans and drains the bottles after sanitizing them, and then it's going to pump it full of CO2. Sometimes they might pump them full of nitrogen, and sometimes they might pump them full of argon. Argon being kind of the creme de la creme of your noble gases that you're going to put into a bottle. So your higher end whiskeys are probably going to use those. If you have a soda stream at home, you can use that. If you've got a nitrogen canister that you use for making whipped cream, with one of the whipped cream chargers, you can actually use the empty whipped cream charger to charge the top of your bottles. But if you don't have any of that stuff already and you're looking for a solution here, Very inexpensive. There's a wine-saving product that is an inert gas that looks like a can of WD-40 with a straw. And you put it up to your bottle and you spray it in there a little bit. The idea is to offset as much oxygen as you can. And then whenever you store it, that heavier gas is going to sit on the bottom because it's not going to actually blend with the oxygen. And it's going to protect, it's going to form a barrier between the alcohol and the oxygen, which is going to make your bottles of whiskey that you bring home, you open it up, and for years and years, it's still going to taste good. The proof in the pudding is one of the prized collection items that I have, which is a Bruichladdich 1990 Black Art. When I purchased this many, many years ago, it was nowhere near as rare and unicorn as it is now. Worth a lot more now than it was when I bought it. Kind of wish I hadn't opened it. Probably could sell it for quite a mint right now. But it's about half empty. That's it. And every single time that my wife and I open this up to enjoy a small glass, it is just as good as we remember it. But we make sure every single time to flood it back out with CO2. And in doing so, we've been able to enjoy the same bottle for years without having to worry about one day going to open it and take a sampling of it and decide this just got ruined and I just ruined a half of a bottle. Another good example of that for us particularly is I'm actually not a fan of Johnny Walker Blue. I think it's okay. But I ended up with one of these bottles, not by purchase, not by choice. And as you can see, there's really not very much of it left. And had some friends over and one of them wanted to try it, so both him and I had a little glass. It tasted exactly as it tasted originally, no loss of flavor. It's growing on me a little bit, I guess. I didn't hate it this time. I never really hated it, but I didn't like it quite as little as I did previously. And both of those bottles have lasted me years because they're not the kind of thing that I just want to fill up in a glass and slam down on a Saturday night with friends. So just a little bit of care and preservation, a little effort on your part, you can make your whiskey collection last a long time, and you can go ahead and enjoy those unicorns. You know, if you're lucky enough to get one of those bottles, you don't have to seal it up and never open it because you want to have it just in case. Just in case what? You have 300 other bottles that you might want to open up as well? No, forget that. Open up a bottle, enjoy it. That's what it's actually there for. And then add some sort of a preservative into it in the form of a noble gas especially, that's going to keep it from oxidizing, keep it from going bad. Seal it back up for the next time that you want to enjoy it. You don't have to keep a bottle sealed. The closer it gets to empty, the happier you'll be with it. Andy Brady with Easily Amused. I do provide some links below. I'll provide it to the wine saving product. I do get a small commission if you purchase it from Amazon. That's not why I'm recommending it. In fact, I hope you have a soda stream so you can do it yourself at home. But you know, I make a quarter or so if you buy one from my link, so please use it. Also, please hit that subscribe and like button so that you can get notified of future videos. Again, Andy Brady, thank you very much.